Vivien Leigh was not just a brilliant performer. She became the fragile, unforgettable face of Hollywood's golden age. Millions knew her as Scarlett O'Hara, fierce and unstoppable, or as Blanche Dubois, trembling on the edge of sanity. But behind the camera was a woman waging silent battles that fame could never cure. She climbed the highest peaks of success, winning 2 Academy Awards. Yet she spent a lifetime wrestling with illness, heartbreak, and darkness she could barely name. Was her genius born from suffering? Or was her suffering fueled by genius? Her life leaves us with an unsettling question. How does someone who appears so luminous on screen carry so much shadow within? This is not simply a story of a glamorous movie star. It is a story about ambition, beauty, mental turmoil, love, and the price of brilliance. The world remembers the legend, but the human being behind the legend is far more haunting, far more complex, and far more tragic than the screen would ever reveal.
Early life and family background. Vivien Leigh was born on November 5, 1913 in Darjeeling, India, to British parents. Her childhood was marked by constant movement, convent schools, European travels, lessons in music and literature. She was bright, elegant, unusually self-aware. Her mother encouraged discipline and poise. Her father instilled curiosity and worldliness. But early stability was disrupted by separation and distance. She learned very young to disguise emotions beneath grace, a skill that later made her acting extraordinary and her suffering invisible. Boarding schools taught silence and restraint. Books offered escape and fantasy. Performances, recitations, and school plays sparked a passion she couldn't ignore. One childhood remark from a teacher lingered. "You are made for the stage." It wasn't praise. It was prophecy. Long before Hollywood, long before fame, Vivien Leigh was a girl watching people closely, studying gestures, memorizing voices, shaping an inner world that would one day bloom into unforgettable characters.
First steps, struggles. Vivien returned to England as a teenager, dreaming of the theater, but facing a world that never handed anything easily. She married young, trying to conform to domestic expectations, yet something restless lived inside her. Acting classes at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art became her refuge. She worked small stage roles, commercials, and unremarkable early films. Critics ignored her at first, calling her simply beautiful, nothing more. She wanted depth, intensity, challenge. Then came a strange twist of fate, a chance theater encounter with actor Laurence Olivier. Something sparked at once, personally and artistically. Their bond would become both a gift and a curse, lifting her to greatness while pulling her into emotional storms. She auditioned tirelessly, often unheard, often dismissed. But Vivien carried a quiet conviction. With barely any money and only ambition as fuel, she chased a future few believed possible. Every closed door strengthened her determination. She would break through, even if it cost her everything.
Breakthrough moment. Everything changed in 1939 when Vivien Leigh fought against Hollywood expectations to win the role of Scarlett O'Hara in Gone with the Wind. It was one of the most sought-after characters in film history. Thousands auditioned. Producers doubted her. She was English, not Southern, too delicate, not fiery enough. But once she stepped in front of the camera, doubt turned to certainty. Her performance burned with intelligence, beauty, temper, and sorrow. The film became a cultural phenomenon. It earned unprecedented acclaim and made Vivien a global star overnight. She had achieved what most only dream of, immortality in a single performance. Yet success brought scrutiny, endless attention, and pressure she was not prepared to shoulder. Hollywood celebrated her, but it also demanded she remain forever flawless. Behind her smile, fear began to grow. Could she ever escape this role? Would anyone see the real woman beyond Scarlett? Peak career and achievements. Vivien dominated cinema and theater through the 1940s and early 1950s. She reunited with Laurence Olivier, becoming part of one of the most celebrated partnerships in acting history. She dazzled in Shakespearean productions, conquered the West End, and continued to command the screen. Then came A Streetcar Named Desire in 1951. Playing Blanche Dubois, a character unraveling under psychological pain, Vivien delivered a performance so raw that critics later wondered whether it revealed her own inner fractures. She won her second Academy Award. For a moment, she seemed untouchable. But her success was not measured only in trophies. She changed conversations about feminine strength, madness, vulnerability, and desire. She gave characters emotional truth long before Hollywood valued realism. Vivien Leigh redefined what it meant to be a dramatic actress. Not glamorous, not decorative, but devastatingly human.
Personal life and challenges. Behind the spotlight, Vivien battled the kind of pain no award could cure. Her devotion to Laurence Olivier was passionate and turbulent. Their marriage became a gallery of devotion, jealousy, arguments, and impossible expectations. Vivien struggled with bipolar disorder long before the term existed in psychiatric language. The world saw brilliance. She felt instability. There were periods of exhaustion, insomnia, uncontrollable energy, terrifying lows. Treatments were primitive and often cruel. Miscarriages devastated her, leaving scars that never healed. Fame magnified everything: gossip, suspicion, loneliness. Vivien tried to keep control, to remain elegant, poised, and beautiful, but her mind often slipped away from her. Each performance demanded more. Each day became a battle between her talent and her illness. She wanted love, stability, and peace. Instead, she lived inside a pressure she could neither escape nor fully understand.
Later years, decline. As the years passed, time and illness began to dim the brilliance that once defined Vivien Leigh. Her marriage to Olivier collapsed under constant emotional strain. Work offered less escape. Hollywood changed. Young stars replaced legends. Vivien suffered bouts of tuberculosis that weakened her physically, while her mental health episodes grew more severe and unpredictable. She withdrew from the public, trying to protect the fragments of peace left to her. Friends described moments of radiant calm, followed by sudden storms of fear or confusion. She still acted, still sparkled on stage in brief flashes, but the world around her was growing quiet. Fame faded, replaced by long nights, exhaustion, and memories of roles she could no longer play. The legend who once commanded the screen now lived mostly in the shadows of her own past.
Legacy and symbolism. Even today, Vivien Leigh remains a symbol of fragile genius. She represents a rare kind of artistry where vulnerability becomes power and suffering becomes unforgettable expression. Generations of actors study her performances to understand truth on screen. Fans see her not as a flawless icon, but as a reminder that beauty and brilliance can hide deep struggle. Her characters, Scarlett and Blanche, stand on opposite ends of strength and collapse, yet both reflect something real about the human condition. Vivien opened a conversation long before it was acceptable that mental health is complex and pain does not erase talent. She left behind a legacy not only of cinema, but of honesty on film. She taught audiences that great acting is not just performance, it is sacrifice, sometimes irreversible.
Closing statement. Vivien Leigh's story is not just about fame or success.
It is a story of a woman who lived between light and darkness, adored by millions but often lost inside her own mind. She won greatness, but paid for it with pieces of herself no one could see. We remember the legend, but to truly understand her, we must remember the human truth beneath it. Brilliance can be beautiful, and it can be unbearably heavy. Vivien Leigh remains, in the end, a reminder that even legends break, and yet through that breaking, something unforgettable survives.